Hi there, I am Michelle Andresen, and I also go by the name the neurodivergent psychic because I have an amazing popcorn brain. So now you're warned that this might be different than what you're used to. This video is a test kind of for me because I work a lot with spirit guides and I have had a blockage on knowing who they are because when I started all this spiritual stuff, I didn't even believe in angels. And what do you know, today I work with angels. And I don't have any problem saying that. But it took me a long time to get here, especially since I am a skeptic, like really, really skeptic. And for me to get this far has been quite the journey. And I have luckily been recording a lot of it, but I used to think that I had only one spirit guide because I read that in a book that when we're born, we are assigned a spirit guide that will be with you throughout your entire life. And this person knows your soul and is, I don't know, maybe it's the one that some people call guardian angels. But I got confused because recently all of that changed. I got to know my spirit guide. I asked back in maybe 17 who my guide was, and I got the name Paul. And there was one other, Miranda, but she felt weak, like I didn't really sense her a lot, but Paul was very clear to me. So I built a relationship with this spirit guide called Paul, and he was just always there. I communicated with him and he replied back, and not like crazy voices and they're out to get you, but every time I would listen to a podcast, like a Hay House podcast, anything related to spiritual stuff, mediumship, psychic readings, healings, I would have questions and I would ask Paul. And what do you know? He could tell me things I did not know and surprising things. And it just felt true. So that's kind of how that relationship evolved. And then I started healing. I started working as a healer because back then I was still working in IT. I was teaching programming. I have a master in IT, and I used to love that world because it was logical. You know, you put something in, you get a result. If you make an error, you have to fix it because there's only one solution. No, that's not true. There are more solutions, but you cannot just do whatever you want and get whatever you feel like, because there are very strict rules that you have to stay by if you want to have a good result. So that was good for me. I liked it, and my somewhat autistic brain is also very keen on logic and structure. So when I started, I've always been curious and interested in anything spiritual, but I'm the kind of person who I need a lot of proof. So I just started without even thinking about it, communicating with this guy, Paul. And then I got curious about healing. I'm not going to go into all of that, but I'm kind of not getting to where I want to go because I might as well say it now. I feel I've been nudged by my guides right now, just before I started this video, to find out what to call them, because it's very confusing that I don't have a name for them anymore. Because I used to call my guide Paul, and then just like Esther Hicks, who is channeling Abraham. Abraham is not one entity, it's a collective, a consortium, and I started calling my team Paul because it was easier. And also because I didn't trust my own abilities to get the names correct. So Paul, I was sure about because we were like this, really close. And he felt like a very best friend. But I started noticing more and more when I started using my healing abilities. I've taken courses and all of that. I just noted I'm saying we a lot and not he as Paul. So I got other guides and helpers when I began healing, because that wasn't was what Paul was here for. And then last year, so now it is April 22nd, 2026. And last year in March, I went to Arthur Findlay College to take a course called Pure Mediumship. And it was it was something that I had worked up the courage to do for a very long time, because I didn't know why I kept hearing from psychics that I was going to do mediumship, because I didn't want to see ghosts. I didn't want to be involved with that, because I found the world of healing and psychic readings magical and amazing, and I didn't need anything else. But I have learned to trust my guides. So they started nudging me years ago, and then last year I was ready and I went. And that's when I found out that I didn't have Paul anymore. So I have been working so much on my spiritual development that Paul was no longer needed. So in a meditation over there, we were told to just blend or connect to a spirit guide. And I was like, yeah, no problem. Hey, Paul. And I was just confused because I didn't feel him. And then the we that I had been communicating with lately back then came to me, and they were like, Michelle, we have a challenge for you if you think that you're ready for it. So I, being a skeptic, I said, I don't know. I think I've had a lot of challenges. So if it has nothing to do with loss of family members or anything going to happen to people I love, then okay, I'll take it. And they showed me that lately, for a long time actually, I hadn't been talking to Paul anymore. And it was as if they were just showing me flashbacks to conversations, to the guidance I'd gotten. And it wasn't that they showed me what was there, but more the absence of Paul. And I just broke down crying. So Paul came back because I was not ready. But he left again later that year, and I was ready. But it has been changing a lot. And then when he left, he introduced me to my new team because I had made an agreement. I sat in a church. I wrote down, I am ready to take on the next steps, the next role, whatever it is I'm here to do, what my soul is meant to do. I am ready and in love and light and all of that. And I have no clue what it was. And I also didn't realize that I was kind of signing a new soul contract, because you have to say, yes, you have free will. And I kind of gave it away. Not really, because I know and I trust that I am where I'm going to be. But I was introduced to my new team, and I didn't really like them because they didn't feel familiar, and their energy was not, it felt, how can I say this? Surgical, or it was too high strung, or because Paul was just a friend and he felt like a person, a good friend, where I just felt held, and this was just different. And that was my sign that it was time for me to stop, what to say, to stop messing about and get to business. So these were the more serious guides that I had invited in. And I didn't really sense what they were, because they were definitely not what I would call human spirits. And I'm sure Paul was. He's shown me small episodes from his life, so I got to know him. But these beings were super tall, and I couldn't. It was as if I was just looking at pillars of light and energy, and they had different colors, but I couldn't see the top of them, and I didn't see their faces. they just somehow scared me, not because I was scared of them, but they felt so serious. And I knew that what I had said yes to required a lot from me. So then, sometime later, I realized that every now and then I was channeling not them, but something else. And I was nudged to have someone interview me. No, not me, interview them through me because I wasn't good. I didn't really want to know. I have this, my ego likes to be right. And I don't want that ego to um, be on stage anymore. So that is what drove me to get my master's and become a speaker and do a lot of things. And that was fine. So that was my drive, but that wasn't healthy because I didn't know who I was. I just knew my titles and what people would be impressed about when I was talking about. So what do you do, or who are you, and yada yada yada. I could talk about that, but now I don't really care about that. Um I don't want that to be important. I want the energy that I feel and emit and swim in, I would almost say. I want that to be important in my life. I want the energy to be part of who I am and what I do. So I'm still like, ooh, tiptoeing around the topic because I am afraid. No, I'm not really afraid. I used to be afraid that if I was told you're working with this archangel or this is extraterrestrial, and I struggle with that so much. I don't want to channel aliens or extraterrestrial beings, even though I do follow, like, what's his name? Bashar, and I do follow that, and some of it just rings true to me. Other things I'm not ready to accept yet, but then when I was channeling, friends were interviewing through me, they showed me. I was seeing the things that I was supposed to see, and it was like a council of I felt 12 representations. I'm not going to say entities because it felt like it was more. It was more like 12 portals that led to. It felt like a planning room. It was as if everything on earth was being planned in that room, like that experience of being human, of the development of earth. And I was also informed that I had been part of that group, and many souls on earth are. So that's why I'm not saying 12 entities, because it felt like this was a place where, like that table where everything was being planned and put into soul contracts, and that's where people would come and also do internships. It was an amazing emotion and an amazing insight, and it just felt so right. And that's when I was willing to accept, okay, something about galaxies and dimensions, but I still feel more comfortable just saying something like that, because things change. And I've realized sometimes when I'm ready to accept something, that's what they give me and show me. And when I'm ready to take the next step, that might change because they're showing me, yeah, so what you thought was this was actually this, because you were not ready to believe that. I think that is why I don't want to be wrong. So if I say it is this and this and this, because that's what I'm ready to believe right now, then suddenly it's going to change. And all the videos where I've been saying that are going to be, well, not BS, because it's going to ring true to people who are where I was when I was ready to take that in. But still, I don't like to knowingly maybe be wrong. I like to know and feel and be sure that what I give to you is not the truth, because I don't believe in one truth. I don't believe that we all are meant to hear or see or feel the same things. And we also have different purposes here on Earth. So still, I guess what I'm saying is I just want to be sure that what I say to you is something that I can stand for, something that I truly believe that this is my truth at least. And now that I know that a truth can change, oh, sorry, it just feels more not scary, but uncertain. So, okay. So what I am trying to get to is that I want to know who I work with the most because I can sense that I work with different energies, and I stopped at one point. I had like a team of around 20 different entities because I was working on so many different areas of my development, the psychic things, the many clairs I was working with, the healing, the I was a teacher, I was a student, I was writing with the spirit and being creative, and there were so many different entities that supported me on different levels, and I didn't. I mean, I can hardly remember what my neighbor looks like if I don't see them at their house. I have that kind of a brain, so knowing who all these entities were, that's just too much for me. But for my for the people who are looking for guidance from someone like me, I want to have not a name or a title. I think what they said was it was so fun. An identification. Yeah, that's the term they used the last time that my friends tried to ask them, what are your names? And I felt myself going, la, 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 la. Like, I didn't do that, but I heard them through my mouth saying, Michelle is not ready yet. She is working uh, against us delivering the message of our identification. And even though I was doing that, la, 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 I was like, identification. That was. That was weird. So they don't say name. Okay, I can go with identification. And the funny thing is that now it just clicked. So this happened maybe, oh wow, that might actually be 6 months ago. So I can take a long time to get ready to act on things, apparently. But cool. So I'm ready to know the identification of my team, my spirit team, because it can always change. Yeah, so that was them coming through as well, because I was again thinking, but if I give an identification and I change and I'm ready for the next step, are they still gonna be the same? Do I need a new identification? And they said, it doesn't matter. You'll just change it. Ah, okay. Yeah, I can just change it. Thank you. So I'm going to do it now. I'm going to just tap in. And it's so funny because they were just talking to me, but that's because I'm always open to some extent. I have asked them for this cooperation where they're always invited to give me information so I can grow, so I can know what I'm talking about, especially if I'm saying something incorrect or something that is not easily understood. I have allowed them to always be there. But here I need to kind of bypass my own blockages. So I have to see if I can be more them than me for that message to be delivered. So this is the first time I'm actually gonna channel on my own as if I have someone interviewing. So I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna close my eyes because it's easier for me to feel me and then kind of pull back, almost as if I'm taking a step back and letting them come through. And I'm excited to see how this is gonna go. So what I wanna ask them is how may I name them? What's the identification I can use for my guide team knowing full well that that might, oh, it's funny, they're showing me like a business. So if you have a consultancy, or that you're using some company to help you with something, that company is still gonna be the same, even though other people, other project managers and other employees are going to be involved in the project. So that is why I can use this identification going forward, because that's going to be like my expert consultancy agency. Okay, good. Let's see who they are. Okay. So I cannot shut up. I just want to have some tea. I'm gonna not talk so much about my process, other than that I am grounding myself, connecting to the universe, and I'm sending my energy up to my guides and all around me, and asking them to come closer as I try to take a step back and let them come through. Oh, maybe with a message about what they're here for and why. Dear Michelle, dear anyone listening to this, know that this is not special as such. Know that this is like a broadcast from a place that exists, attainable for all of you, and that you could all have your own agency as such, or choose any term that you might find relevant for you, since a lot of you will not have the blockages that Michelle, may we say, suffer from. Michelle is smiling inside because she finds it funny how we make these small comments about how she is thinking as we are broadcasting. Now she's laughing too, because she thought that to be a weird expression. So this is also for you to know how this works as a channeler, because yes, you might actually be a channeler on the rise, or even a more experienced channeler, but some of this information might be new to you. Michelle is really enjoying this, so we are certain that it will succeed this time for us to get the message through that we have been trying to deliver for quite some time. Yes. So, what to call us? Well, we have for a long time found it necessary to find what you see as a name, or something that is relatable to the life that you live on Earth. And normally you would have one conversational partner, and it is always nice to know to whom you are talking, or with whom, or who you are listening to. So we would we need to find out how to get it through, because Michelle is still a bit reluctant to fully allow that information to come through. Just a second. So for now, we can call ourselves the collective, but that is not sufficient. But we are warming up and making Michelle feel comfortable with allowing this information to come through. But yes, we are like a collective of many different sources of entities, of energies, of frequencies, or whatever you feel comfortable thinking feeling, seeing when you are talking about guides and higher beings that are there to guide and support you on your journey and in your life. So, this is really not new knowledge. This knowledge has been available for a very long time, but a lot of people have that weird, shall we say, um, it's as if you have been brainwashed to believe that you are not special enough to have this cooperation with us, shall we say, that you should be someone extraordinary in the sense of having accomplished much or being like a Mother Teresa or a higher um, leader in a religious cause or charity, but we want to assure you that just the fact that you would like to be of service this way, that you wish to get to know us, to have a co-working status with us is enough for you to be able to establish that link. And we keep saying we because we change around. So even though Michelle may need to have this agency um, identification, know that you may access many of the same energies and entities that are coming to and through Michelle, because we are not. Hmm, um, Michelle struggles to find the English word for this. We will help her. We are not bound by the law of physics that you normally would think about. So we can be in many places all at once, or what you would feel like at once, though that is not how we conceive the concept of time or place where we usually reside. So we have the pleasure of also, mm, though this is not yet transmitted other than in Michelle's living room, we have the pleasure of, in a future scenario of you watching this, uh, meeting dear friends in the soul that we have been working together with previously. So know that um, this mode of connecting, of creating links, is also a way for us to communicate with the souls in your precious bodies that are ready to invite you to take the next step into this. Yes. So, if you too wish to know with whom you are working, we we ask you if you could just be curious and maybe do what Michelle does, like allow us to speak to you, to have access to deliver this information, and also show you what, why, how, the questions you have, so you will no longer feel that you need to always find someone else who can guide you, who can show you who you are and why you are here. And we are at service as well as you feel you will be of service. So we thank you for that. And what Michelle is waiting for is for us to deliver the name. And curiously enough, she feels as though we don't have one and that she is afraid of making up a name. So we will just change the energy and see if that will make it easier for the information to come through, because sometimes these blockages that human brains make are actually quite tricky for us to work on, even though the human underneath this brain is willing and eager, but mm, still has some underlying fear and worry. So we will help Michelle be more relaxed in this situation. Odeon. Odeon is the name that we have given. Odeon. 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 And that is, for now, what Michelle can call us Odeon. Mm, She is not happy with that, but that comes from her fear of having misinterpreted the name. Um, we showed it to her as letters in a night sky, and she is afraid that she should have said something along the lines of Orion, because um, that is a star constellation that Michelle feels very attracted to. But Odeon is for now what we will react to, and we are comfortable at knowing this is the identification for us now. And the link is slowly being we say goodbye because Michelle is coming through now. Yeah, so that took a lot longer than Odeon. Isn't it funny how they could be talking just telepathically to me and explain what is happening, and sometimes I am not sure what what is my subconscious that is pushing to explain what's happening, and other times they're just making sure that I feel safe in this. Odeon, that sounds weird. Odeon. But yeah, I actually saw like, sorry for me with the close up. I saw like an evening sky and some stars, and then Odeon. Odeon. So now I'm just Odeon. I don't know what that means, but I'm gonna have to work Odeon. I still feel like I must have gotten it wrong, but they said no. I would have expected it to be a name that sounded more like a name. Odeon. Hey, it's not a name. It's an agency. It's a consultancy agency. Odeon. Odeon. So there's something that sounds like a way to spell God. And that's so funny because I was doing a meditation the other day where I wrote ha 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 because that was a way to release blockages. So instead of working hard, you can actually kind of get it out like that. And I feel that if they tricked me to somehow use a name that means God or something like that, it's very funny that I wrote it next to an old piece of paper that says Because that's what they do. They trick me a lot of times in a good way, never like devilish or something that's gonna hurt me. But it's funny. So that's it. I now know that my guide team is called Odeon. Odeon. It sounds wrong, but who am I to decide that, right? Yeah. So that was it. That was fun. That took a long time for me to get to what I thought would be like 5, 10 minutes. But if you're still here, congrats for having the patience, and hopefully you learned something. Oh yeah, now I remember that the thing that they said about you listening to this, that you would probably be ready to do something with your own team like this. So have fun with that. And I'd love to hear how that goes. So please share, share, share. Have you had any experiences like this? What do you struggle as well? Because names, especially when I'm working as a medium, the names, oh, it's so hard to get it right with the spirit coming through is not a good communicator, or if I might not be in the right energy. But that was fun. So I'd love to hear your experience with this or your thoughts. And if anyone knows what Odeon is, I'm going to Google it. Of course I am. But yeah, so thank you so much for being a witness to this. That was fun. So I'm going to do another video, and that's why I'm going to say goodbye now. Thank you. Love you. Bye bye.